Welcome to Combat Zone 360, where we discuss everything military. Today on the show, we have a Vietnam veteran, Michael Sulsona. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for coming.
I know we've been talking a little bit, and you have amazing stories, and you've done a lot within the community, and I would love to get into that. But right now, I want to know where you came from. Who is Michael? Mike.
Who is Michael? Well, I was born in downtown Brooklyn.
Okay.
Went to Catholic grammar school. And it wasn't, every neighborhood is tougher than tougher, but it was, my father died, I think, when I was about 13, 14. And it was me and my brother. Wow. And not that I was in a lot of trouble. I just wasn't going to school, and I was hanging out with a lot of other people that didn't go to school. So I don't want to say, I probably was a bad influence on some of them too, and I saw my time running out, and I just joined the military, and the Marine Corps was it. And then, next thing I know, I went to Paris Island, and
Well, to go back a little bit, in high school,
right.
I know you didn't show up a lot.
Right.
But did you play any sports, or were you in parts of any clubs or anything?
Yeah, I played a lot of football, but I think my real interest was in billiards and shooting pool.
Okay.
Yeah, and recently, well, not recently, but the last 15 years, about 15 years ago, I was really training to go back into competition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was...
well, that's a part of Mike we didn't know about.
Yeah, very, very involved in it.
Yeah.
Until I blew out my shoulder and got divorced and couldn't afford to train anymore.
Now, you did that after your military career, right?
Well, before I went into the military, that's where when I did go to school, that's where
you were shooting billiards.
Yeah, a lot up in Harlem and in Bedford-Stuy, and I met some incredible pool players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with you in high school, ditching high school a lot, going out playing billiards, playing football.
Yeah.
What influenced you to join the Marine Corps?
Well, I was in trouble. It wasn't like now, someone, like, let's just... all seriousness, a lot of guys joined because of what happened in 9/11, and it was, we were just like a bunch of kids from the neighborhood. First of all, it was part of growing up to join the military.
Oh, okay.
It was just a mindset. You got to that age, draft was, I wasn't drafted, but the draft was around then, and, there was also, you go to jail or you join the military, which is something they don't have now.
No. No, nowhere near that.
And then the Marine Corps was also, they also had the line, the line, you're in the Army, you're in the Air Force, you're in the Marine Corps, But I did remember going to the post office in Tillery Street.
Yeah.
And going up there and telling him I wanted to join. The guy signed me right up, and...
So what made you choose the Marines over any other branch?
My father was in the Navy.
Okay.
The Air Force seemed, I just felt like I would never be able to fly.
Now,
my math was horrible. I just didn't want to be in anything above ground.
Well, see, I've talked to you, Mike, and I know you're not Air Force material.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't think so.
No. You like hard work. You like the ground pounding. You like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think
and you
Air
are not
Force.
Air Force material.
The Army, there were plenty of guys. I guess it was... I don't know why I wasn't attracted to the Navy, although my father drove a Higgins boat.
Oh, wow.
Navy. Yeah. And it's fun. I'm going to go all over the place with
That's okay.
But it's interesting. The only thing that I have left from my father was the Bible that was given to him before he landed in Normandy.
Oh.
Right? So fast forward so many years later, I get hit, you know, and they throw everything in a box, you know.
Yeah.
So I get this box in the hospital, and I'm going, like, where's my shark skin suit, my that I bought in Okinawa, and all this, you know, all this other stuff that I had, you know. And at the bottom of the box was the Bible that somebody gave me. So those are the only two things I have left from.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Enormity, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I never spoke about it. Very quiet man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But also to...
But now I'm starting to think how much of that was PTSD.
100%. Yes.
And I'm thinking, like,
yes.
you know, all right.
It was not easy.
You see the horrors of war and this and
Yeah.
that, but it constantly in my mind, I'm going, my father had to be 20-something years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know? All right, he didn't land on the beach, but could you imagine dropping everyone off and then backing out and have to go back to your ship to get more men?
Yeah, knowing what you're putting them through.
What
and
was
knowing
that drive like from the beach back to...
And to see the things that are happening, I know he dealt with a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, you know, and, you know, it takes great men to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, so you ended up joining the Marines.
Right.
And how long after you joined? Well, first we got to figure out why not the Army over the Marines.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had. You know, I listened to like all these people. You know, and they have a reason for everything. Let me tell you, I don't know what went on in Vietnam. I don't know where I was. Yeah. You know, I didn't know what we were fighting about.
Yeah.
And well, I wrote this story about this guy named Dwight Johnson who was a recipient of the Medal of Honor in the 60s.
Amazing.
And I started realizing there's more guys like me that were in the military at that time, and probably are today, than people that actually know what they're doing. You know, that they don't know anything about politics.
No.
They don't know. They're lucky they could add, you know. You know, my wife says my only interest was to see how much beer I could drink before I went to the bathroom. That was my goal in life, you know.
Oh, man.
So, you know, there are a lot of people that see it as a way of getting your life together.
Yeah.
Or, as we used to say, a way to get out of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You know, you put on that uniform. You know, the guy in the grocery store that used to give you a hard time, now you have on a uniform. And even back then, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. Nice. And now, when I know you went to Vietnam and you did what you did. Now, you are a double amputee, correct?
Right.
Yeah. And without getting too graphic, because I know there's some people that watch this.
You're going to ask me. Oh, yeah, well, I mean,
exactly. I don't want them to,
me.
you know, because there are people that watch this that does have PTSD and stuff like that, and, you know, issues within themselves.
Right.
You know, I would like to hear your story of what happened without all the graphic material to where they can still understand as well.
Right. Well, I don't know what graphic means in my world. Let's start with that. So they're going to have to brace themselves, leave the room, or get on some meds. I don't know. It was very simple. Again, you know, I mean, I could dress it up if I wanted to, but the bottom line is that we went out on a patrol. Mm-hmm. There was about 8 of us. We were to clear an area for a padre, you know, a chaplain, to walk and say mass.
Okay.
So they wanted to send us through. They wanted us to clear the area, make sure it was okay. So we walked the patrol. We get to the point that we're going to turn around. We turn around. I looked at my watch. I'll never forget the time. It was 10 after 10, right? Yeah. And the guy, I start going down one path, and he goes, no, go this way, right? And I remember in a cowboy movie, I don't know, Burt Lancaster, I think, was in it, right? He mentioned something about never go back the same way you came, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't learn that in boot camp. I got it in the movie theater, and And I says, well, we just came back. We just came that way. You know, I want to go back. He says, no, take it. And it took like about 5 steps, and all hell broke loose.
Oh, wow.
You know, and then they brought in one chopper, and that, I have a feeling it was rocketed. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, because I had already stepped on the landmine.
Yeah.
You know, and the chopper came in, and it. Again, I don't know whether it was rocket or landmine, and that took off. And then the same thing happened to another chopper, and that took off. And then the third chopper came in. It was a Chinook, I think it was a 56. It was a lot of people were yelling at me. You didn't even know what you were on, you know. But it was a double blade. I think
double blades are the Chinooks.
Yeah, but there's a 57 and there's a 56. I think the 56 is smaller.
Gotcha.
You know. And it came in, guys came running out. This is a moment that changed my life. It's always stayed with me. They picked me up, they dragged me into the chopper, and I looked up, and the priest, the chaplain that I was walking the patrol for, was on the chopper giving me my last rites.
Oh, my God.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I went to Da Nang, and they tried to save my legs. I went to Guam, where they amputated them. And then I went to Philadelphia Naval Hospital, where I spent 9 months.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the thing that always reminded me, you know, I'm not, and this is jumping ahead forward, you know, in working with our veterans and the type of work that I do and helping them get what they need, you know, it almost, you have to get involved in politics at a certain point. Because you talk, you talk about bumping heads with people, you're talking lobbying, you're talking big money. You know, you almost have to say, you know, this has nothing to do with what I'm doing. This is your business, you know, because when those guys came out of the chopper and they got me, nobody asked me if I was a Republican, a Democrat, you know? Or nobody asked for my health care provider.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And just that moment alone had, you know, not at the time, but I had thought about it over the years. These guys didn't really care. You know, their job was to save someone's life. There's no gray around it, no patriotism around it. You know, they weren't doing it to keep America. Am I going off around in circles? I know I am.
No, that's okay.
But, you know, I think that was the difference about the Vietnam War. You know, now there's a sense of patriotism.
Yeah.
Red, white, blue, and before that, too. But the Vietnam War was that you didn't fight the war. You weren't fighting for your country or for freedom. You were there to protect your brother. Yeah. Because we didn't have, although we didn't have a nation supporting us, or even at the time, our own military units supporting us. You'd be calling in airstrikes and nobody's answering, you know?
Yeah.
The only thing we really had was each other.
I agree, and it's the same thing even in Iraq when we were over there. You know, you're there, and you're a family, and a lot of people don't understand. The people you serve with and the people that you fought in combat with, no matter if you like each other or not, you guys are family for life.
There it is, yeah.
You're like a big, dysfunctional, hatred family, but you're still family.
Right.
You know, and you might not get along with people. You might get along with people, but no matter what, you guys have that mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
And our whole goal, no matter what, was to make sure all of our brothers or sisters made it home in one piece.
Oh, yeah. You know, and I think that's what makes, I'll just use the word servicemen, you know, meaning women too, but those who serve different, they've experienced, they've crossed that threshold of putting your life out there for somebody you can't stand.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Some idiot that's out there that probably went out there by mistake, got himself in trouble, got everybody in trouble. Now he's wounded.
Yeah.
You know, in downtown Brooklyn, they just leave the guy there and got what he deserved, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But on the battlefield, no, you have to grunt up and you have to go out there and get
Exactly.
it. You know?
And you put your life on the line to save those who you're with.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's always never leave a soldier behind.
Yeah.
Never. So I know you do a lot within the community now.
Right.
You work with multiple organizations. You are actually, going to be a recipient of one of the
Siller homes.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Right.
So this is what we like to talk about. This is how we like to help veterans. This is stuff I want people to know that, yes, even though this is what we did and this is how we are now,
yeah,
these are the things that we still do to give back.
Right.
So if you could you talk a little bit about the organizations that you work hand in hand with and what you do for them?
All right. Well, I think the organization that changed my life, when I came back from Vietnam, and I didn't even want to wear anything green for the first 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
I went through that phase. And then I went off to write. I did some movies, stage plays and stuff. And when I was actually slowing down and ready to understand what retiring was, a guy by the name of John Ponte, he works for the Siller Foundation. And the guy literally hunted me down. He made a U-turn. He was driving. A guy by the name of Peter O'Toole was driving, and they made a U-turn on Richmond Avenue, and he jumped out of the car and says, "I got to talk to you," And I'm like, "No, look, I don't want to buy anything," And the guy followed me to my house and told me how much the organization needed me.
Yeah.
So I started to understand the whole thing of servicing, of what I did and the help that I could, bring to the table.
Yeah.
The Siller Foundation, what they do is this division, building homes for America's bravest. They're the ones that pay off the mortgage for first responders, for cops, firemen, and even they go beyond that too.
Building homes for Gold Star spouses.
Gold Star, which is interesting because we're trying to do something with that now within my small circle.
Nice.
And when I started working with them, the homes for the Vietnam veteran were not available because it was all post 9/11.
Yeah.
But working with them, it didn't matter to me because of what we were talking about before. You don't leave anyone behind.
Exactly.
So it was like right up my alley.
Exactly.
And then finally they decided, they said, we want to build Mikey a home. And I was like, it was funny because I didn't believe it. I thought like they were going to screw me. I was going to go in there and they were going to say, "Here's an office. Now you can work on it." I don't want an office.
And I remember we were at the Tunnel to Towers Gala.
Right.
And we sat down and we talked and we discussed how, it took them forever to get you to take a home,
right?
Because you kept telling them, "No, give it to one of the younger guys. Give it to one of the younger guys." And now they're forcing you to take a home.
Somebody really said to me, it's sort of like if I don't do it, and if I don't do it the right, of course it's for me to make my life easier.
Correct.
My shoulders are a little banged up, and I'm like,
yeah.
This is going to be a dream, and it'll help me work much, much better.
Yeah.
But in getting the house opens up the door for other Vietnam veterans, which you're really looking at. These are guys they're reaching that age and they're hurting. Vitamins don't do it anymore.
No, they need it. They need it big time.
These are and it's a perfect age for them because at that age you're like sizing down. So how much does this guy really need? A mortgage paid home, built as a smart home, would really help a lot of these guys get back. Like it did with me. I was going to go back to writing, and I was still going to work.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys out there that are so, they put 40 years into working somewhere, you know, a straight job with a disability, and that they didn't want to claim the disability, and they went through divorces, and their kids are sucking the life out of them, and, you know, to be able to live that life and then have a home presented to you as a Vietnam veteran. Even these young guys, man, it's like, you know, I've been in some of these homes. It changes your life. All right, you know, what do they say? There is no gain without pain. All right, it's real nice, you know. But
I think we've dealt with enough pain.
Pain, yeah.
Now it's time for the gain.
Yeah, it's nice to have a nice driveway,
Exactly.
you know. You could go into your house. You don't have to go over a big hump, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to hop upstairs. You don't have to straddle a bathtub to go into it, you know. And they really put a lot of research and thought into building the homes.
Good.
Yeah, and it changes their lives. It'll change my life.
Yeah.
You don't know at what, you know, it's almost like it's done. I think for the younger guys, they don't realize as much because they haven't gone the other end of, you know, when I lived in downtown Brooklyn, we always used to joke around. You know, you could park your car, but you're still halfway home.
Yeah.
You know, because if you come out after putting a load on, yeah, that's only getting in the neighborhood. Now you got to drive around for 45 minutes, 3 o'clock in the morning looking for parking.
Yeah.
And then you might have to walk 2 blocks with artificial legs, then a flight of stairs.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
You know?
And this is something that actually is big for me because I love giving back to the veteran community. For example, you know, I've done a PBS with the Tunnel to Towers for the Gold Star family homes.
Right.
It was crazy though because in the commercial I was the one that actually had to deliver the information to the spouse, and I got choked up even though it was just a commercial.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the commercial yet. I don't know when it's going to come out or anything, or if they're going to use it or go a different way. But just for me to be a part of that and to assist with that change and things like that was just
because
tremendous.
you're responsible for the kid too.
Yeah.
You know. It's not like,
Exactly.
all right, me, I get the house, you know, and
Yeah.
the veteran just gets the house and it's all about. But this is, you know, helping the mother or father move ahead in their life
Yeah.
and helping their kid, you know, it's like, it's a win-win all around, you
Exactly.
know?
Because in the military family community, the person that is in the service is usually the moneymaker of the family because
Yeah, I've
you're
seen that.
constantly moving around.
Yeah.
So it's hard for the spouse to have a steady job that pays well.
Yeah.
So when you lose that stability,
Right.
how are you going to make up for it?
Well, or how many guys re-enlist just to...
Exactly.
They don't want to spend. There was one guy, he was trained in Motor T, and he was actually thinking he was in the Marine Corps, something to get a bonus in the Army to go in for so many years.
Yeah.
And I'm like going in my head like, bro, you know, you go to school, try and do something outside, you know?
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, almost hate to say quick money, but it's insured money. You know, you go in, you sign up, you get them. You don't have time to, you know, with a family, you don't have time to make career choices.
Exactly.
You know?
And for that to happen, you know, when the spouse loses their service member, they don't have anything to fall back on. They have the life insurance money, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and for them to be able to get this home mortgage free from Tunnel to Towers and really live and raise it's able to allow them to concentrate on raising their children and working
it's like
to support them.
A clean slate.
Exactly. And that's why I'm a huge fan of that organization. It started off as, you know, his brother losing his life during 9/11.
Yeah.
And it started off as a first responder foundation, but it has grown tremendously since then and moved on to the military services as well. Yeah. And now everybody's benefiting off of it and it's an amazing thing out there, you know. And I know that was a big change for you in your life, and it's about to be even bigger.
Well, you know what I learned from the Siller Foundation? It's the follow up. You know, they just don't write the check. Here it is, and that. You know, there is a whole process. You become part of the family, and when all that's expected of you is to pay it forward. You know, and whether that's doing well in life to serve as an example, then so be it, you know, or going out and helping other veterans. And, you know, they feel that it's so important to get these guys back up on their feet again.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And I'm a huge supporter of them. I mean, I've seen a lot that they've done. We've actually went out there, I think it was out in Long Island.
Chris Levy?
Yeah, the American Legion I'm a part of. It was before I became a part of them, but they went out and did the whole front yard, laid the sod and everything. And it was fulfilling because we're still giving back to veterans. And it's veterans helping veterans. And that's a huge thing out there, you know, and I love it. I love it. You know, but one question I would like to ask you is, I know there's a lot of young high school kids or young adults out there that are probably thinking about the military. If somebody came up and asked you, you know, what your opinion was or how you feel about it and what they should do, what would be your advice to them?
Well, of course, it's a case by case. You know, if you come from a military, it's not an easy out. You know, that's like a loaded question. You know,
it's not as easy to join either nowadays.
You know, if you want to become, as we called it, a lifer, you know, make the military a career, then go for it. You know, there's nothing more honorable than spending your life in the military. You know, as there is, you know, committing yourself to a service, or let's say even in outside the military. Being a fireman for so many years, or being a police chief for so many years, you know. If you're doing it, I'll tell you the reason not to join. If you're doing it for the bennies, because you know what? It's going to sneak up on you, and you're going to screw yourself.
And if you're doing it for the bennies, there isn't any, you know, you don't get a lot of money.
Let me tell you something. You said watch your language, but you're going to screw yourself. Because I work with a number of people, you know, that I'm working out their case, and you know, I attack problems as they come to me. Which is my problem, you know. I don't go back and find reason of why that.
We got to cut it short right now, but we're gonna have you back on.
Okay, man.
I enjoy your story.
Thank you. No, amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you for tuning in. And until next time, make sure you thank a veteran.